Make hay while ye have light, by Ary Lavoisier. In the library basement, deep under the stacks, just beneath the wood floor and the floor's weathered cracks, up in the sill by the boiler room grates, perched a sharp-witted pigeon and his two clever mates. And that sharp-witted pigeon, also known as Francois, puffed his chest in the air, and he let out a caw. As you know, he began, with his voice sounding haut, that us pigeons are poets of sorts, are we not? Yes, writing's a skill that exists at our core, and it runs in our genes and our feathers for sure. And I, whom you all recognise as Francois, am the greatest of all of the writers. Hurrah! For I know what it is that makes good writers great. What they need is a novel idea. And I'll state that of course no idea is more novel than mine, than the one that's been birthed in the eye of my mind. So allow me, dear friends, to begin, if I may, with a smatter of pitches I'd like to convey. For starters, I'll tell you of Margot and Lance, who share an apartment in Avignon, France. And what makes them an odd sort of couple in truth is that Lance is a stickler and Margot's a goof. Oh, the humour will mainly just write for itself, and in time all my books will fly off of the shelf. With a pen and some ink, I can conjure up Dink, a reptilian physician who thinks like a skink. But what makes this idea so uniquely distinct is I've made Dink a part-time reptilian skink shrink. And what about Faye? She's the world's oldest flea. She's been buzzing about since before you and me. But if you should ask her what age she might be, she just blushes and smiles. Who, me? 23. Now see here, Francois, Montgomery rose. So you've got these ideas, and you're proud, and you boast. So you've introduced roles like our flea friend Old Faye, but I want to know more. What's she do day to day? What's the plot? Where's her arc? Do we end with a twist? Does she learn? Does she gain? Tell me more, I insist. So I'll argue my point, and you may disagree. Or you may think I'm speaking in hyperbole. But to get your name etched on the Broadway marquee, or at least to become an award nominee, well, you'll need a good story, 'cause story is key. It's the primary tool every writer should need. And because no one else tells a tale quite like me, well, that makes me the single best writer you see. Then the second bird started to wax with his beak. It was clear he just wanted to hear himself speak. Introducing my hero, Montgomery said. May I present a young fellow named Ted, who likely might have a loose screw in his head, 'cause he circled the globe on a loaf of stale bread. Yes, my story is one that is hard to critique. Even I could not keep from the edge of my seat. See, the loaf that Ted used was as stale as a tree, and it floated for months right across the blue sea. But because, all in all, Ted was floating on wheat, the seagulls showed up and went after his seat. And they gnawed and they jawed and they ripped at the crust. And the mess that they left was a sort of a dust that consisted quite mostly of morsels and crumbs that were loosed from the seagulls' triangular gums. And they kept up for days, on, and again. 1 week became 2 weeks, and 2 became 10, and the bread under Ted became frightfully thin, and his wits, they grew frightfully close to their end. And just when he figured that all hope was lost, he arrived at the pole and the bread turned to frost. And since seagulls are not fans of icy cold toast, our hero survived, all the way to the coast. "Bravo!" clapped Renatus, chock full of contempt. "You've designed quite a drama. I applaud the attempt. For the average old fowl, your work might pass for fair, but for true writer pigeons, it just doesn't compare. See, a bright, thoughtful mind can enchant and beguile. It can captivate folks with a good sense of style. Indeed, style is the cure-all for drivel and tripe. And there's no one more stylish than this feathered scribe. What you need is a pigeon to punch up this guff. A true genius like me will suffice, sure enough. At the outset, I'd snatch up my fountain pen wand and I'd make our friend Margot the Queen of Beau Monde. And Lance, I must say, wasn't his story bland. I should make him a lifeguard at the local quicksand. As for Ted, on his bread, well, he didn't say much. I should give him a monologue with a spotlight and such. And I'll add a few trumpets and a section of drums. And I'll bring in a choir and some dancers for fun. We can light up the sky as the disco ball spins. Or play just one note on an old violin. I like spice in my fiction. I might bring you to tears. I might fill you with joy. I might fill you with fears. I just might be perplexing, but one thing is clear. You'll be talking about me for the next 100 years. And these pigeons, they blathered, and they blethered and barked, and they yapped with their bills till the evening fell dark. And they talked a big game about plot points and themes, about settings and styles, about chapters and scenes. And I believe if they tried, they could have yapped on for ages. But one glimpse in their books revealed empty white pages. But wait, shh! Did you hear that? Not those birds prattling on, but that tap, 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 tap. It sounds like a typewriter, fading in from below, maybe down in the broom closet, where the old dust mops go. Yes, there, in the corner, just behind that wood door. It's a fourth writer pigeon. It's the one they call George. Oh my word, what a sight! That bird's pecking away. Not the noise from his beak, just the ink to the page. Tap, tap, tap as he types in that boiler room nook. Could he birth something real? Could he write a whole book? Tell me this, what becomes of a sharp, flashy wit if the writer who wields it can't seem to commit to the work and the grind every day, week by week? That's the thing about George that makes him so unique. He's a bird with resolve and persistence to boot, and he puts in the hours. Oh, he's quite resolute. And I'll bet you can guess what transpires from here. Shall I tell you the rest? Shall we skip through the year? Well, for months Georgie typed, and he filled up the pages, and he spat out an epic from the old Middle Ages. He began between forts, in a battle royale, where the brutes flung their boots over DuPont Canal. Then he introduced wagons and lasers and mice and starfish with peg legs who dance in the night. There were chapters on griffins and troublesome gnomes and a section on wizards with oversized tomes. There was Sandy, and Lonnie, and Bobby, and Blair, and a princess named Harper, and a cook named Robert. And down at the bottom of page 99, he wrote about love on the very last line. And he just about typed all his feathers right off when, wouldn't you know it, the publisher called.
Hello, is this George? This is Conrad McGinty. My call is regarding the letter you sent me. I represent Simon O'Brien and Brooks, the nation's best outfit for publishing books. And I'm pleased to announce that we've read what you've sent us, and frankly, we think that your work is stupendous. Your ideas are exciting, enthralling, and new. And your style is superb, and your story rings true. If it's not too much trouble in due time, let's meet. We could fly you first class. We could pay for your seat. We could talk face to face, maybe chat beak to beak. At our headquarters. Yes. We could shoot for next week.
And they stamped it official. And the books were released. And they covered the shelves from the west to the east. Then the newsies showed up with their cameras and mics. And they beckoned our friend. They said, "Give us advice. Please tell us, oh George," all the newshounds proclaimed. "Please tell us the trick that makes good writers great." George, he thought for a bit, on his old pigeon pals. Then he barked his throat clear and he said, "Hear this now." For a story to be written, well, you'll need to sit and write. You'll actually have to move your pen. 'Twon't happen overnight. It's not a simple, easy task. It may take months or years. But stories are not built alone, on idle bare ideas. So sing, my humble poet friends, make hay while ye have light, for the best among us won't be read if we refuse to write.